welcome to Cozy Sky Knits. I'm Elizabeth and this is my YouTube channel where I share all things about my knitting, including my finished objects, projects that I might have on my needles, some acquisitions here and there, and also some various other fiber crafts such as needle felting, circular sock machine knitting, etc. If you are new here, welcome in. I'm so glad that you found my channel, and I hope that you find something that piques your interest. And if you see something that inspires you, I hope that you'll leave me a comment and a thumbs up and maybe share my channel and consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it really helps me to gain visibility on YouTube and to reach more knitters out there. So if you happen to be returning, I am so glad that you came back again to sit and chat with me. I hope that you enjoy this time together, and I adore all the comments that everybody leaves, and I'm just so grateful for the community that we're building. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about what I'm wearing today. Not really wearing any knitting. It is cooler here in Texas now, which is great. We're kind of getting into our fall mode where we still have hot afternoons, but we have cooler evenings and definitely some cool mornings. So it's been down in the 60s in the morning. It's just been just lovely. We've had very low humidity and that's just been amazing. So, but I'm not wearing any knits today because I got this adorable t-shirt in the mail as part of a gift from my fiber fairy. So last year at my knitting group in San Antonio, we did an exchange where we pulled names and we got assigned a fiber fairy anonymously, and then we've been sending gifts and cards and whatnot throughout the year. And I got this t-shirt in the mail, so I'm going to stand up so you can see it. So it is this cute little ghost that's wearing a really adorable beanie and knitting a scarf with a nice fall drink and some bats and pumpkins and what have you. And I think it's super cute, and I wanted to wear it to show it off. So that's what I'm wearing. Then my co-host Sasha here is wearing one of my shawls. This is the Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's been modified slightly though. The pattern originally calls for worsted to Aran weight yarn, and it's supposed to be knit at a gauge of 20 stitches per 4 inches on a US 8 or 5.0 millimeters. I actually knit this according to some modifications that were done by my local knitting shop, the Knitting Cup in Georgetown, Texas. Unfortunately, they just recently closed down, so that was kind of sad. But regardless, they modified this pattern with the permission of Andrea Mowry and provided me the changes. And they modified it to accommodate a DK weight yarn. And this was done in Barocco Medina, which I'm not sure if this yarn is still available or not, but it is a DK to sport weight, and it is 295 yards per 100 grams. It's 35% cotton, 36% acrylic, and 27% rayon viscose. So I used 6 different colors, and I'm not going to go through all the colors because I didn't want to pull out my ball bands and what have you, but I do have all of it logged in my Ravelry, which I will include a link in the comments below or the description below for you to go and check out if you'd like to. And like I said, all the yarn will be shown in there. And I think I said I knit this on a US 6 or 4.0 millimeter needles with the lighter weight yarn. So as far as knitting this, I don't know that I totally loved the process of this, but it wasn't because of the pattern. It's a really great pattern, and I actually have knit the cowl as well, and I did like that process. I think for me knitting this, where I had a little bit of, I wouldn't even say difficulty, but it was just, I had to pay more attention because the yarn choice, this Medina yarn is so variegated within the skein, and I was using 2 different colors, but there's so many different colors in each skein, it was hard to tell at times which skein I was on and which stitches I was slipping and what have you. So because it's a mosaic slip stitch knitting process, so it wasn't fun to me because of that. But that again is just yarn choice, not necessarily the pattern or anything, because I used a solid on my cowl and I enjoyed that process much better because it was easier to see the 2 different yarns. So, but overall, I'm very happy with the finished object. It has some really pretty colors in it, as you can see. It's just pretty much any color you can imagine. There's peaches and pinks and purples and blues and dark moody olive greens and golds and rust, and it goes with everything. And because of the cotton content, it's just a nice shawl for Texas. So I do get a lot of wear out of it. So that is the Nightshift. So I have a couple of finished objects today to show you. Actually, one that was already cast on that you've already seen, and then two that I just cast on and finished. Of course, they're small finished objects, but they were hats. I have a nephew that lives in northern Michigan, and he decided to shave his head. And so he said, if I shave my head, will you make me a hat? And I said, absolutely. So like 10 minutes later, he sent me a text and his head was shaved. I was like, oh gosh, I got to get knitting. So I cast on a hat really quickly. And the only requirement he had was that it be green. Well, I didn't have a green that I thought he would like, but I did have a couple of yarns that I thought I could combine to get a color that would be kind of something he would enjoy wearing, plus I would enjoy knitting. So here's the finished object. And I basically just did a 2x2 ribbed hat, so I didn't really use a pattern. I cast on, let's see, how many stitches did I cast on? 72 stitches. I did a gauge swatch, and then I determined the circumference that I wanted. I ended up casting on 72 stitches and I used I think it's a 2x2 ribbed pattern. I just did a twisted German cast on, and he wanted it to be really thick and squishy, and he wanted the band to roll up so it would be extra thick. So I made it pretty long, and then he can fold this up because he doesn't want to slouch or anything like that. So this is how he'll be wearing it. So I can put it on and show you. A little warm here, but you get the effect. So yeah, so nice, squishy. I think it'll be really warm for him, and I think he'll enjoy it. So the yarns that I used to combine were Kelborn Woolen's Scout, which is 100% wool, and it's 274 yards per 100 grams. And it's this colorway here. And the color is Juniper Heather. And then I combined that, I was using some stash, so that was nice also. I combined it with some Yarn Rehab in their Rock Shelter sock base, which is a fingering weight, and it is 400 yards per 100 grams. And this is the colorway Some Dark Holler. So you can see it's a variegated. So again, solid with the variegated. And I got this really nice finished product. So I think he'll be really happy with it. And I told him I couldn't send it to him until I podcast so I could show it. So I'll get that in the mail probably tomorrow morning for him. So that was the first finished object. And then I enjoyed making the hat so much that I thought, oh, I'm going to just get ahead and cast on another quick hat for myself, or to just put in my pile of possible things to give as gifts, maybe to my sister or to her school for their silent auction that they have at Christmas time. So I had a skein of Yarn Bee, which is from Hobby Lobby. They're hand-dyed chunky in the color Floral Frenzy. And it is 100% superwash merino, and it's 110 yards per 100 grams. And I did, on this one, I just did a 1x1 rib. And I was going to make it so that it flipped up and, you know, I could have a double brim. But I don't know, with this yarn, because it was so busy, I just didn't really like it. So I thought it was better just as a single hat. So that's that. I think it's pretty cute. I love the colors, nice and bright and fun, super lightweight, but yet I think it'll be warm because it's quite thick. So yeah, so two quick finished objects that you haven't seen yet. Then the third finished object I have, you have seen if you've been here before, and if not, welcome, and you can see my finished object. So this is my Alpenglow sweater by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and this pattern came out several years ago. I was late to the party on it, but that's okay. had bought the pattern a while back and it was in my library, so I was happy to do this. And I did as a knit along with my friend Melissa from San Antonio, so that was fun. So this is done on a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle for the main body, and a US 2 or 2.75 millimeter for the ribbing. The pattern calls for a fold over neck, but I chose not to do that because of being in Texas. I didn't want really that double thick collar around my neck with this type of wool. So I just did a 2x2 rib instead, and then I did a tubular bind off, which I think looks really nice. And I also did the tubular bind off on the cuffs and the bottom. So this was a really fun pattern. I enjoyed knitting it. I used red stag fiber for my main color. Well, for my first color here in antique linen, and it's Josh from Red Stag Fiber. It's his Highland Sport, which is a non-superwash Peruvian Highland wool. And this color is, I'm sorry, antique linen, which is this like kind of white color, whitish grayish color. And then the main color of the body here is also Red Stag Fiber in the colorway Aberdeenshire. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that name all the time. Aberdeenshire, and which is this really nice kind of taupey color. And then up here in the color work, I used Moondrake's Fua Fua, which is an amazing base of 70% cashmere and 30% merino. So it's a fluff yarn, and it's 315 yards per 50 grams. And it's so soft and fluffy. It's really, really nice. You don't use very much of it in this sweater, so I do have quite a bit left, and I have to figure out a nice project for that. But the colorway is slate. It almost looks like a real dark olive green to me, but kind of has a gray cast to it as well. But I don't know, it leans more olive green to my eye. So, and then for the color changing yarn, you use Spin Cycle dyed in the wool. That's what the pattern called for, and I had that in my stash, so I used that. And I used the colorway Stay Ready. So it just moves from the different tones down and through the dark. And I love the bottom, the two color ribbing. I think is really pretty. Nice touch. And then you do the color work on the sleeves as well. I think last podcast I showed I had done one sleeve and was starting the second sleeve, and I finished that off and blocked it out. So really happy with it. It blocked out nicely. It fits really well. I think I said I made what size I made? Size 3 is what I made. So yeah. Anyway, real happy with that. I'm glad to have it finished, and I hope my friend Melissa gets hers done soon too. So that's all the finished objects that I have. So now we'll go into some works in progress, and I'll show you what's on my needles. Give me just one moment. So now let's talk about what's on my needles. So in this cute little bag, it has these little mushrooms and snails and flowers, a little patchwork bag that I made. This is housing my Rimfrost Slipover, which I also believe I showed last podcast for the first time. I haven't worked too much on this because the hats took over finishing the sweater, and then another project that you'll see in a few minutes. I always get tangled every time I go to pull this out. I get tangled up my stitch markers, but I did do a little bit of work. This is a all over lace work slipover or vest that you knit the front and the back, and you connect it at the shoulder seams, and then you have a little bit of a ribbing on the neckline, and then you do I-cord ties on the side to close it together. So this is actually a free pattern by Phil Colonna. It's on their website, and it was written by Carrie Rasmussen. I don't know if I said that. I'm making a size medium on a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needles. I'm using my Chiagos, which I love. The gauge on this is 28 stitches and 30 rows per 4 inches. I am using a combination of La Bien-Aimée Helix, which, here's the ball band on that, and it is 75% Falkland Merino and 25% Gotland wool, and it's really a nice base, along with their mohair, which is the Soyu base, and it's 459 yards per 50 grams, 64% kid silk mohair and 36% silk. And both of them are in the color Winterfell, which is this really pretty dark tealy blue color. And it's producing this beautiful fabric, which I think is going to look really nice with a white blouse under it, so you'll be able to see the lace. So this is where I was before. I think I did another repeat or 2 repeats of the lace since you last saw it, but hopefully I'm going to work on this tomorrow. I have some knitting time scheduled tomorrow, and I feel like getting back to this. Once I start touching this, I love the feel of it, and so I'm like, oh, I need to pick this up again. So I will do that hopefully tomorrow and spend some time, maybe get through the front. So that is that project. And then let's see, the next thing I was working on a pair of socks that I showed last time in my cute little mushroom basket, which I think is just really adorable. Again, I got this on Amazon, but I am making the Biscotte sheep socks, which I got as a kit at the Dallas Fiber Festival back in September. Let me set this down so it doesn't drop. Apologize for the clunking. And here is my sock. So you can see it's done toe up. I'm following this 2 pattern. I'm making the smaller size, which is 72 stitches. I think it comes in 72 or 76 stitches. I'm making the 72. And it had a slip stitch heel, and I wasn't sure I was going to do that because I have really high arches and I didn't know if I would get a good fit on it. But the more I thought about it, I was going to do an afterthought heel, but then the more I thought about it, I use a slip stitch heel on my socks that I knit on my circular sock machine, because that's pretty much what you do. And so I thought about it. I only do 60 stitches on my socks on my sock machine. This has 72. So I figured 72 stitches, this heel would end up being longer and it would accommodate my foot. So I went for it, and I actually got a really good fit with it. So you can see I don't think it's too bad. Only spot is like you're using this 2-color rib here, and then when you're picking up stitches, it pulls one of the green stitches. So I don't know, but it's my heel. It's not that big a deal. I don't know, I worry about it, but anyway, I think they're super cute. They are being knit in the yarn that came in the kit. I can't talk today. I'm just like, my mind is racing ahead of my voice. But anyway, the yarn that came in the kit is the Biscotte in the colorway Hero Dune Printemps, which is the variegated or self-striping. It's self-striping, not variegated. And then the color Vanilla, which is just a natural. So I think they're super cute. They're obviously, normally I just crank through socks really quickly, but because this is, the all over color work, it is taking me a little bit more time, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself to get it done either. So I should get this first sock done this weekend. I think I'm just going to do 1 more repeat of the sheep, and then I'll do a good size cuff on it. So that'll be probably enough, maybe 2 repeats of the sheep. I don't know, we'll see. I'll try it on after 1 more and see how high it comes up on my leg. But super cute, really squishy because of the color work and the double thickness pretty much of all the yarn. So I'm really happy about that. Like that project, it's been fun. I wouldn't say it's as relaxing as some of my other sock knits, where you just sit and doing a vanilla sock or self-striping or just an easy textured pattern or anything like that, but I am enjoying it. And the other thing that has been taking up my time, I've been slightly obsessed with, is being housed in this cute fall project bag from my shop, Cozy Sky Knits on Etsy. And this is a sweater size bag. It's a nice big bag, so I have a whole sweater in here and I still have a ton of room. So I am making the jacket number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I am making this in a size small. I'm using a US 9 or 5.5 millimeter needle for the main body. And I think the ribbing, you will use a US 7 4.5 millimeter. So we'll see when I get to that. I'll do a little bit of a gauge swatch for that to make sure that's what I need to do. But this is a sweater that is knit. It's a cardigan, and it's knit from the top down, and it's a drop shoulder design. So you start it with the back. I can show you this. It's got a lot of texture to it, and when it blocks out, it'll be really pretty. But you start with the back, and you're doing like this trapezoid, and then you pick up stitches at the shoulders and down. And I'm almost done with the left side, and I think I maybe have, I don't know, 20 more rows or so. And then I will be connecting at the sides, not in the round because you're not going around because it's a cardigan, but you know what I mean, where you connect the sides and it's all one piece at that point. So it's going super quickly. I am slightly obsessed with it. I love the feel of it. So let's talk about the yarns that I'm using. I showed this yarn as an acquisition, I don't know, a while back. But I had gotten some tussock mohair from Pearl Soho, and that is really nice mohair that is 60% mohair and 40% silk. And this was the colorway Lucky Green, and I think I got it 40% off. So I got the mohair first, and I've been wanting a bright green cardigan just to wear with like black pants or jeans and a white top. I just think it would be so fun and cute all winter long and at the holidays. And I knew in my head, I knew kind of what I wanted. I wanted something a little bit chunkier, kind of oversized, maybe slightly boxy, what have you. Someone recommended another cardigan that was really pretty lace, and I so wanted that cardigan, but I couldn't in this green, but I couldn't get gauge. So I'm going to make that pattern, but in a different color. I haven't given up on that because I love the pattern. So anyway, so I'm using the tussock sock, and I'm holding that with Kelborn Woolen's Germantown base, which is 100% North American wool, 220 yards per 100 grams. And it is in the colorway Emerald. So it was like a perfect match on the green. So again, those two yarns making this beautiful fabric. And hopefully you can kind of see some of that texture and the halo. So yeah, so that's a new project. I have these really cute little stitch stoppers, these little squirrels, if you can see those. I think they're cute. They're 3D. He's got a little tail, holding his little acorn. Super cute for fall. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's been occupying my time the last 2 weeks since our last podcast. Just those 3 objects. I haven't really done, well, those 3 objects plus the 2 hats that I finished and the sweater I finished. So I guess I've done a lot. What am I saying? Give myself some credit. Yay, tap myself on the head. I don't know. I always feel like if I don't have enough finished objects, then everyone's going to be like, ah, she's boring. Whatever. But anyway, that's it. So that's about all for what's on my needles. Oh, I do have one other thing that's been occupying my time. And I made a string of yarn cozies. So I think I've shown these before, but I like to keep I knit pulling from the inside out. And I like to keep my yarn in these cozies because it keeps pressure on the skein and keeps it from falling apart and just holds everything together. And if you are out and about knitting and drop a skein, it's protected, what have you. These can get thrown in the wash or washed. And so, yeah, I love them. Anyway, I make them on my circular sock machine, and I have them for sale in my Etsy shop. And I just thought it would be fun to show you how I go about doing them. So I actually make a whole chain of them. These are all different colors. I started putting the Christmas ones in. So big long snake of yarn cozies, and then I split them apart and I tighten up the bottoms and do some stitching on them and finish them off, and then I steam block them and what have you. So anyway, just thought I would show you that too. That's a lot of fun. So this past week, I think it started last weekend, was the Texas Yarn Crawl in our area, and it's a series of shops that participate, and I think it extends over 2 weekends and the week in between. And each of the local yarn shops offers a different pattern that they provide, and then a certain yarn that's usually I think 15% off. It's usually discounted during the yarn crawl. So I did go to a couple of our stores that were, you know, like an hour from me. That's all I had time for. But anyway, I thought I would share a couple of the things that I got on my yarn crawl. So I went to 3 shops. I went to Gauge Yarn in Austin, and I went to the Sated Sheep, which is recently under new ownership, and that is in Dripping Springs, Texas. And so it was my first time visiting that lovely shop it's in a new location just down the street from where it used to be, but it's a really cute building, and the ladies that were the new owners were really super nice, and I had a good time there. They had actually Knitting for Olive on sale, so I was able to pick up some mohair that I needed for my Rosie sweater that I'm planning to start soon. And then I went to Knit ATX, also in Austin, which those ladies that own that shop used to work at Hill Country Weavers, which is now shut down. They started, I think they're coming up on their 1-year anniversary, so that's really awesome. And that was my first time actually making it into their facility, so it was a lot of fun. But a couple of things that I was specifically looking for is I needed a new yarn swift, and I've needed one for a while. I have a tabletop one that I love. It's really nice, but it takes up a lot of room on the counter because it's one that just sits on top of the counter. So I have to put it all together and it sits on top of the counter. And I used to have one that clamped on that was more of an umbrella type, and I really liked that, but I broke 2 of them. So this is my 3rd one. So I kind of wanted to move back to that design. So I found one, and I think it's by Luca, which they make the really nice wooden needles. And so it's this beautiful rosewood. You can see it clamps on. And the thing that I liked most about this is that on the top there is a handle, so that if you needed to, say, wind yarn on or back up, you can actually manually turn it from that handle. So I thought that was a really nice feature that I've never had on any of my yarn swifts before. So yeah, it seems to be very well constructed, and like it's going to be pretty durable. So I'm excited to start using this. So I picked that up, I think, at the Sated Sheep. So that, and setting things down, waiting for stuff to crash. Then some of the yarn that I got, and I don't remember which shop I got what at, but I'll just show you what I got. So I got some Lang Cashmere Light in this beautiful purple color. Oh, there's a color name on it, but you can see this kind of muted dusty purple. So I got 2 skeins of that, and this was actually on sale at, I got this at Knit ATX because it was on sale. And it's 25 grams, has 85 meters. So it doesn't show the yardage, just shows the meterage. But I bought 2 skeins of this, and I don't know, I'm gonna make something for my sister for Christmas. Maybe a hat and maybe a little neck, like a neck scarf, little like Sophie scarf type thing, or a little bandana type thing or something, or maybe fingerless gloves. I don't know, she loves those, so maybe I'll do that. But anyway, 2 skeins of that. They had also had some sock yarn on sale. This is a Fiza, and this is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, 462 yards per 100 grams. And this is yarn that's made in Turkey. It's colorway 90. I don't know, it's really pretty, pinks and purples. But I got a few skeins of different colors. It was on sale, and I use this to make my yarn cozies. So I always look for yarns that are discounted to make it economical, so I can keep the price of the yarn cozies down, because I don't really make much money on it, maybe $1 or something for my time, and that's about it. But I just have fun knitting them. So, and I think they're super useful for knitters. So yeah, I got that, make some yarn cozies out of that. And another yarn, I hit some sale yarn. This is by Cascade, and it's the Cantata, which is 70% cotton and 30% superwash merino. And it's one of those blown yarns. So it's cotton core with blown merino. And I don't know, with the high content of the cotton, I thought it might be nice for Texas. So we'll see. I don't know what the color is. Color number 27. So it's 218 yards per 100 grams. so like a DK. And I don't know, I guess it's made in India. So I don't know, I got a sweaters quantity of that. I'm probably gonna make something for my mom for Christmas, or maybe her birthday, I don't know. I always have these big intentions and I never get to it, but it's in there. Then I think I got this from Gauge Dye Works, and it was actually in their sale bin. This is Elemental Effects, and it's a US yarn company. This is hand grown and hand dyed and spun in the US. It's the Civility Sport. And this is color 308 Cerise. And it is 70% merino, 30% silk. It's 112 grams, 400 yards. And it says it's 4 to 6 stitches per inch, and it's a 3-ply worsted spun. So anyway, I thought that color pink was really pretty. So I'm gonna make some kind of a sweater out of this. Maybe a ranunculus, I don't know. I just love this dark pink. So I got 2 skeins of that, which I think will be enough for like a ranunculus or some sort of a tee. And then I also got the North Bay Fiber, which I don't think I've ever tried their yarn, and I've always wanted to. This is 100% Cormo wool, and it's their elementary, like I'm back at school, elemental fingering yarn base, and it is in the colorway Holly, which is this really pretty, kind of a tomatoey red, like an orangey tomato, definitely leaning more orange, but it's a red, and I think it's really pretty, like a Christmas red, I guess. But yeah, this is sourced in Campbell County, Wyoming. It's spun in Pennsylvania, and then it's hand dyed in Pinconning, Michigan. And I used to live in that part of Michigan, so it's kind of fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to try this out. Like I said, it's a non-superwash, but it's really got a nice feel to it. It's not, it's, you know, slightly toothy, but it's not rustic feeling, and it's not scratchy whatsoever. So this is 463 yards per 100 grams. It's a 21 micron, so that's probably why it feels so nice, and it is worsted spun. So I got a sweater quantity of that. I think that was pretty much the bulk of what I got. I may have gotten a few other little things, but you'll see them sometime when I knit them, if I ever get around to it. The other thing, I mentioned that my local yarn shop, my LYS, closed down, the Knitting Cup. That was so sad. But the owner of the building decided to sell the building, and Shawnee was trying to sell the business, and it kind of happened at the same time, so she just decided to go ahead and shut down the business, which was really sad. I'm really bummed out about that. But anyway, I made a stop in there before she did shut down, and she had yarn on sale. So I helped her clear out her inventory, and you all know I love this yarn. This is the Fiber Co's Amble Base, which is just a really luscious yarn. I love it for socks. It is 70% wool and 20% alpaca, and then 10% nylon. So that alpaca content just gives you just such a nice feel for your socks, and it makes them a little extra warm, just a little extra cushy. And so I actually got a lot. So this was a little embarrassing to even show, but I know we're all friends and you're not going to judge me. So I'm just going to show you the basket that I got, and you can all laugh your butts off. Here you go. They were all 35% off, I think. So I thought I'm just going to grab them. I may end up making a sweater out of some of it, because I got some really good colors that go nicely together that would make a nice colorwork sweater. And then I can always make socks. So we'll see, or a hat or whatever. I just love this yarn. I love working with it. It feels so nice going through your hands, and I love the product that it makes, the squish factor, the little tiny bit of halo that it creates, the extra touch of warmth from the alpaca. It's just a great yarn. So yeah, so proud of my babies here. So I just don't have anywhere to put this right now, so I thought, oh, I'm just going to put it in a basket and call it a decoration. Isn't that what we do as knitters? We try to justify our habit and try to figure out where to stash stuff away to make the space. And then I don't know if you all do this, but sometimes I put stuff in really good places and then I forget where it's at. It's terrible. And then maybe a year down the road, I'll be looking for something else and I'll uncover it and be like, oh, I totally forgot I had that. Oh yeah, that happens. But anyway, so yeah, those are my acquisitions. So that's all the content that I have today. Other than that, life is pretty much just moving along. Like I said, I can't believe it's already mid-October. I have some work trips coming up that I'm not really excited about, but I have to do them. I have to go to Pennsylvania and Alabama and Dallas a couple times. So yeah, trying to get all that in before the year end. It's always fun. And I know with some of the delays that the airlines have been having with the government shutdown and the TSA in place and stuff, I'm not looking forward to flying, but so be it. I have to, I guess. Other than that, yeah, not too much has been going on. My poor mom lost another tooth. Well, actually not the tooth, but her crown fell off of her tooth. It was a really old one. But I felt bad because she's had a lot of dental work this year, so I felt really bad for her. But luckily they were able to put it back on, and we're hoping that it lasts for a little bit because she's already used all of her benefits for this year, so she can wait till January, then they can actually replace it. So anyway, and then my dogs are doing pretty good. My one Cockapoo Griffin, I mentioned a couple episodes ago that he's in kidney failure, but he's actually doing fairly well. He's been eating. I've been finding things to entice him. He's on the special kidney food that the vet prescribed, and then I always toss in a little bit of extra. Sometimes I'll get chicken from a rotisserie chicken from Costco, and I'll give him a little bit of that to pique his interest in the meal, and then he'll eat the kibble. He's doing a combination of wet and dry food, which is getting some moisture in his body. He seems to be doing okay. He's perked up a bit and he's not in any pain or anything as far as I can tell, so that's good. And we're just enjoying his time with him, you know, our time with him that we have right now. And as long as he seems happy, we'll just, you know, continue on that way. And yeah, so thanks to everyone who has commented and wished us well with that. So, and then I also have, I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I have a friend who's going through cancer. He started his treatment the week before last, and he is handling it, tolerating it really well. So he's doing immunotherapy and chemotherapy, and it's kind of a unique treatment. I was really interested in hearing what he was not taking, but what they were administering to him. He has to go once a week, and then he has 2 weeks. He goes one day a week for a big treatment, and then he has to go every day to have a chemo pump, like the drugs changed out every day for a week, and then he's off completely for 2 weeks, and then he starts over again. So far that first treatment, he didn't have any side effects, which was really nice. And he called me today and he said he had gone to the oncologist, and they said if he didn't have any initial reactions to the drugs they gave him, he probably won't, which was really nice. He's going to get the cumulative effect, obviously the fatigue and that. But as far as like any adverse reactions with vomiting or that kind of thing, or skin issues, he probably won't. So that was really good news, and I got to talk to him and to his wife for the first time today too, which was really nice, because for some reason we talk so much that they just sort of feel like family to us now, so it's kind of cute. But anyway, thanks again also for everyone who you know, kind of commented on that and gave me some positive thoughts. So it's working. So I guess that's about it. I think I'll end it here. Hopefully, if you haven't had a chance and you didn't participate in the knit-a-thon 2 weeks ago, go back and catch my episode. It had a pretty funny introduction. Hopefully you all got a good laugh out of that. I had fun making it, except that, let me tell you, my neighbor came outside and I was in my hair all up and everything, and he was like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm shooting a video. Try explaining that. He thought I was absolutely off my rocker. So I got a kick out of that. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. I will end it there. I hope that everyone's doing well. Maybe some of you, I think this is Rhinebeck weekend, and maybe some of you are all getting a chance to go to one of the events around Rhinebeck or Rhinebeck itself. That's still on my bucket list. Hopefully maybe next year I'll get to go to that. I'm not sure. But if you are, hope that you all have a good time. I hope they have good weather, because I know it's always dicey, whether it rains, it snows, it's extreme heat, you never know. But hopefully everything will be good and everyone will enjoy that event. So, and that's it. I will hopefully see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, thanks for sitting with me, and hopefully you got some work done on a project and you enjoyed listening to me banter. And we will catch up with you next time. Take care, stay safe, and happy knitting. Bye-bye.